Hello. Very good morning, everyone. Very good afternoon, depending on where you are. Very good morning. My name is, for those who don't know, my name is Numan Ashad. I am a trader. I've been trading for 6 to 7 years. For those who don't, I basically trade futures and stocks. And this is actually my second session today. We are going to talk about something, some very important topics, and I hope that this session brings you guys a lot of value. We are going to cover things from a very practical point of view. So just please stay with me. It's going to be a very interesting and fun session. And yeah, with that being said, let's have a deep dive. I am going to go ahead and put my slides on. And we should be good to go. Great. So once again, so today is our second session. In the last session, which was very interesting and important as well, we discussed the importance of journaling and why journaling actually provides you or gives you a very important edge and insights. It is a non-negotiable thing. It is not about just writing down where you're entering and where you're exiting, but the idea of good journaling is always to get insights from your mistakes and then basically implement solutions, because trading at the end of the day is a long-term game, right? So today, the topic that we are going to discuss is an extremely important topic. It is again non-negotiable, and it is about building your playbook. So if everything looks fine, let's have a deeper dive. There are 2 to 3 major things that you are going to take away from this session. Number one, what is a playbook? Why it matters? The anatomy of a setup. Very important topic, very important segment, and then building your own playbook, right? Now, again, it might sound very complicated or whatnot, but stay with me. This is going to be a very interesting and important session. And again, we are going to cover things from a very practical point of view. So let's have a deeper dive. Number one, what a playbook is and why it matters. Now, I know a lot of folks tells you, that you should trade the same setups again and again. People have different names for a playbook. Some folks call it strategies. Some folks call it chart of books. Some call it playbook. But whatever the name that you put on it doesn't matter. What matters is that you have a framework that you can repeat over and over again and apply the criteria over and over again in the market on your setups to get good and high probability trades. So what is a playbook? The official definition, it's a structured collection of predefined setups. And that is the most important word in this definition, and that's a predefined. And the reason for that is that you have predefined risk levels, you have predefined criteria level for a trade, you have predefined market conditions, you have predefined exit rules. So everything's already predefined. When you are trading, you're not acting based on your emotions. You're not acting based on how you feel, but rather you are following a very structured process in your trading. So a structured collection of predefined setups, each with detailed criteria and exit rules. Now, again, we are going to have a deeper dive in with live examples, and I'm going to showcase you guys how you can apply those examples in your trading. So just stay with me. These are the fundamental things that we should understand before we actually have a deeper dive into live things. So why journaling without a playbook strategy basically falls short? Number one, without setups, your journal is just a log, right? No framework to analyze why trades work. I can go ahead, I can open my computer, I can open a brokerage account, I see a stock going higher, And I'm like, okay, you know what? When the market opens at 9:30, I'm going to buy here. And if it goes higher, XYZ, I will sell. If it, does not go higher, I will take a loss, whatever the case may be. This sort of behavior in live trading and in professional trading always leads to a disaster, right? Because in this example, there is no structure, there's no framework. I'm not telling you based on what criteria I'm going to take a trade, based on what market conditions I'm going to take a trade, if that trade even makes sense at all, what I am looking at the tape when I am taking the trade. So basically there's no structure at all. And this is where a lot of folks lose shitload of money, right? A lot of new traders, that's what they do. They open your brokerage account, they see a stock running, and then they go ahead and buy it randomly. What happens at the end of the day? You keep on repeating those same mistakes over and over again without tagging your mistakes, without even realizing that you're making those mistakes, which leads to a disastrous outcome, right? So tagging trades to setup reveals basically where your real edge comes from. If I am making one mistake over and over again without even realizing that I'm making that mistake, what is going to lead to? A disaster, right? So this is what a playbook fixes. I'm going to give you a very, very interesting example. Let's say that every single day, whenever I trade, every trade that I take between 9:30, right? Sorry, my handwriting sucks. Every trade that I take from 9:30 until 10 a.m., I lose money on it, right? And let's say every single day I keep on repeating the same mistakes. Every single day, the market opens, I get very emotional. I see a stock running. I go ahead, I click the buy button. 10 minutes, I am down 5K, 10K, 20K, whatever the case is, right? If I keep on repeating that, I would never know what's wrong, what's working, what not. But if I track that every single day, my journal becomes a feedback loop, right? So let's say if you have a data over a month, over 2 months, over weeks, or whatever the case may be, you would know, hey, these are my mistakes. I cannot trade from 9:30 to 10 a.m. no matter what. So what should I do? I should maybe take a step back and not trade from 9:30 to 10 a.m. Let the price settle. Let the price showcase itself. Let the buyer showcase their hands. Let the seller showcase their hands. And then take a trade based on a good probability, right? So once again, why journaling without a playbook strategy falls short? These are the most important reasons. Everyone tells you to go ahead and journal. Every other person will say to you, hey, you should journal. You should never open your brokerage account if you're not prepared, if you don't have a game plan. But the question again is how to journal, number one, and number two, how to get information, how to get insights from those mistakes, from those errors that you make, so that you can build a process, a system over time that is helpful to you and that helps you in your trading strategy. So with that being said, let's take it a step further and let's look at the anatomy of a setup, right? This is what every setup in your playbook needs to be. It needs to be tested. It needs to be usable. It needs to be such that it can be repeated over and over again, right? Number one, setup name, something that you'll recognize instantly in a moment. Now, again, this is very, very simple. And why I'm saying that, it might sound or look very, very easy, but let me give you a very, very important example, very, very interesting example. Let's say I take a setup every single day and I call it opening drive trade, right? Opening drive. We're gonna stay with me. We're gonna go through the entire criteria of what exactly an opening drive trade is, and you guys will see how it plays out live, right? So if I take, let's say, 100 trades on my opening drive setup, right? And from that 100 trades, let's say 20 did not do well, or 30 did not do well, or whatever the case may be, and let's say 70 did well, or 80 did well, or whatever the case may be. And at the end of the day, I have a dashboard with all of my playbook, with all of my setups telling me, hey, my opening drive plays have higher probability of success versus the setups where, let's say, I trade after 10 a.m. or let's say the VWAP strategy or whatever the case may be, right? So the setup name, extremely, extremely important thing. Number two, the most important thing, market conditions. Why market conditions are very, very important in any sort of trading strategy. Market conditions are important because volatility plays a massive, massive role. An opening drive play, just giving an example, could be great when, let's say, the volatility index, which is VIX, right? Let's say if it is trading below than 20, right? Opening drive could be a very, very great play. Market opens, volatility is very, very calm. It's not high, and the market goes for a very, very nice drive in the morning. But let's say when the volatility is very high, let's say, I don't know, 25 or 30 or whatever the case may be, maybe the opening drive play is not that good. You know, maybe the opening drive plays always leads to reversal. So in every playbook, in every trade, in every setup that you take, you need to define these things, such as, okay, under what market conditions my setup actually works. What time frame I am focusing on? Am I taking my trades on a 15-minute time frame, or am I focusing on the 5-minute time frame? Trend environment, that's basically a higher time frame picture, and volatility context, right? You need to define your entry criteria, specific trigger that tells you to act. Again, the reason, that's what we discussed earlier as well, that is the predefined setup, is that you do not act based on your emotions when things are happening. If I take opening drive, or if I take a second day play, and I have taken, let's say, that play 100 of times, the next time that I see the same setup, I will not hesitate to take that trade, right? But if I do not have any record of anything in terms of, hey, what the market environment is, what do I need to see on the volume to take that setup, what do I need to see on the tape to take that setup, I will basically have no memory of anything. So entry criteria, what exactly should be the trigger that you should take your trade? Exit criteria, both your profit target as well as your stop loss. Notes, ideal versus suboptimal conditions for this setup, right? So with that being said, let's actually go through some very, very interesting examples, and basically we're gonna discuss two setups today. Number one, catalyst setup, catalyst play. What exactly is a catalyst play? And number two, opening range drive, right? Can you guys hear me? Just a quick check. By the way, if there are any questions or if anything is not clear, feel free to shoot us a text. I can see your text questions coming live as well. Just feel free to write any comment that you have, any question that you have, and then we will try to answer that as well. So number one, catalyst setup. What is a catalyst setup for me? Now, again, by the way, the name could be different for you guys, right? Some people might call it new setup. Some people might call it auctional drive, right? Some people might call it event-driven momentum, whatever the case may be. The fundamental idea is that there is a news on a company, let's say, be it earnings, be it a product launch, be it a merger, be it whatever the case may be, that fundamentally changes the economics of the company, right? So earnings is a very, very, very good example in that. And actually, we have the earnings season going on right now, where companies are reporting their quarterly results. So they are reporting three major metrics actually. You have the beat or a miss on the revenue and EPS. And secondly, the most important thing, they are giving a forward guidance, right? And this is what the market cares about. Beat and a miss, of course, is important, but the forward guidance, and what forward guidance is, basically the company tells, hey, this is what we see, the potential, what's going to happen the next quarter, what's going to happen the next year, and so on and so forth, right? So these sort of things fundamentally changes the economics of the company. That leads to a complete re-evaluation, right? And the valuation start changing. Either we start pumping like not tomorrow, or we start dumping like not tomorrow. And again, we're gonna go through some live examples later on as well. So what should be the entry? First base consolidation after the initial spike, or a breakout with volume. Now, again, these are some very, very generic rules that I have defined for an example purpose, right? We are going to have a complete, a deeper dive later on this subject as well, in terms of what exactly you need to see on the volume, what exactly you need to see on the bid and ask to actually take a trade. But the general criteria, let's say for a catalyst setup, for building a playbook, is, hey, there's a news on the company. Let's say I have a playbook called catalyst stocks. So what comes under the catalyst stock? Okay, there should be a news. There should be something that fundamentally changes the economics of the company. If that happens, what exactly am I looking at? What is my entry trigger? Okay, I am only considering to take a trade if the stock builds a base, and where I can define the risk on that particular setup, right? On the particular stock. Where should be my stop? My stops should be below the base or consolidation low. Where should be my target? Let's say measured move from the base, and I will scale out at the strength, right? Now, again, these are just a very, very fundamental, let's say the first step for defining the criteria for a catalyst setup, right? Again, what we are trying to do over here, guys, we are trying to give you a framework for building a playbook. And again, I'm repeating this 1,000 times, and I will repeat it 1,000 times. It is non-negotiable. You cannot take a trade if you do not have a setup. You cannot take a trade if you do not have a playbook. Because if you're doing so, even though you make money, in the long run, you are going to lose money because of having no structure or having no framework at all, right? Second, another example of a setup or a playbook, let's say opening range drive. Some opening range drive could be different. It could be 5-minute opening drive. It could be 15 minutes opening drive. It could be based on, let's say, if you are only measuring, let's say, 30-minute activity based on the initial balance, how it's established or whatnot, that could also be classified as opening drive. There's no universal, let's say, there's no universal name for defining opening range, but usually it's, let's say, first 15 to 15 minutes of trading activity, right? So let's say, what do we want to see in an opening range drive? Okay, let's say we want to see the price breaking clean and holding above, let's say, opening range low or opening range high. If I'm defining the opening range as the first 5 minutes, so that's what I'm focusing on. That is a first 5-minute bar, right? If I'm defining it as a first 15, so that's what I'm focusing on. Again, the idea is that I have at least the basic structure that I am focusing on. So what do we want to see? Let's say if there's an opening drive play, hey, I want to see a very, very strong tape. Hey, I want to see the volume picking up as the market is, as the price is trying to break the range high, right? Where I'm going to be my stop? Well, my stop is going to be at the low of that range, and so on and so forth, right? Which should be my measured move, right? What's the process for where I'm going to take the target? I'm going to take the target maybe at, let's say if the volume is not strong, let's say I'm looking at 0.5 ATR move on the stock, right? Let's say if the volume is very, very strong and it's a very, very catalyst-based opening drive, I'm expecting that the stock could possibly do 1 ATR on the day, right? Sorry again, guys, my handwriting sucks whenever I write on the screen, but I think you guys understand what I'm trying to say here, right? So another target could be, let's say, the liquidity zone. So previous day high, previous day low is very, very, very strong liquidity zones that could potentially be also the targets, right? So with that being said, I hope at least you guys know what exactly a playbook is, what exactly a strategy is, and why having a strategy is extremely, extremely important. Not having a playbook, you should not take any trade at all, right? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and we are going to go through, we're going to go through some live examples, and we will try to build a playbook together, right? So on TradeZilla, on the left-hand side, this is where you see basically all the functions, all the segments. Can you guys see my screen? Quick question. Right? Yes, I think it's working fine. For building a playbook, I go ahead and I hit the strategies button. This is where this takes me to the dashboard of the platform, where you have all the major metrics, all the major KPIs and whatnot. So let's say in here I have different playbooks built up, such as catalyst stocks, directional auction, weekly playbook, or whatever the case may be, right? The way you can, there are actually different functions that what you can do, right? So if you want to build your playbook from the scratch, you can go ahead and hit the create strategy button. It will open up a lot of templates, right? There are two options. Either you can select from the templates that are already built in the system. So let's say auction market theory template, right? Or this one is my favorite, that is, let's say, buyer-led directional auction. This is the one that I have created, right? So let's say if I go ahead and import it, it will automatically import all the rules and everything that are important for this playbook, right? Second option is that you can create your own strategy, you can create your own playbook. To do that, you go ahead, hit create your own strategy. We start with naming the strategy, such as, let's say, opening drive, as we said earlier, right? Description, what exactly I'm looking at. I'm looking at first 5 to 15 minutes of trading activity. Add different photos or rules or whatnot. And then here I will add my entry criteria, my exit criteria, so on and so forth, right? That's all. You just go ahead, hit save and backtest, or save and go ahead, and this will take you to the metrics. But let's actually explore, for example, this one, buyer-led auction. Now this is the one actually that I have used. It could be a buyer-led auction. It could also be directional auction, whatever you want to call it, right? So let's look at the strategy, right? So this is what we discussed earlier in the slides. What am I looking at when I want to trade a setup as a buyer-led auction or directional auction, or whatever the case may be, right? So my key triggers: news and catalyst, earnings, CPI, Fed decisions, very, very important. Why? Again, because those sort of news, or those sort of things change the fundamentals of a company, fundamentals of the market. Second thing I'm looking at is the liquidity zone, strong support, strong resistance areas. Number 3, breakout, key technical levels, triggering price discovery. So this is one trade that I took some days ago, and I'm gonna go through the thought process, right? Now those are, for example, my key triggers, the basic framework. Let's call them layer 1, right? Layer 2, in terms of the criteria, what I want to look at is, for example, strong volume in the direction of the move. In this particular case, on this session, MU had a lot of trouble. Look at that. Very, very strong move on the downside, broke 1,000, traded lower the entire session. Next day, pre-market was down again. So on this particular day, my thesis on the session was that we are going to trade lower. We are going through a very, very strong retracement because, as you guys know, MU has been running like not tomorrow. So we finally broke the trend line and we are trading lower. So in my game plan, I had like, I am looking for taking potential shots on this name, right? But to take potential shots, what are the zones that I'm paying attention to? Okay, 890 at 900 zone is extremely, extremely important. And what I want to see is that I want to see exhaustion happening right at the open. And the reason for this, for holding this trade, because I held this trade for like 2 hours or whatnot, is because of conviction, right? And this is what we discussed the last time as well, is why having a game plan is extremely, extremely important. Is because if in your game plan, if you have a strong thesis on a trade, if you have a strong thesis on a particular trade that you're taking, it leads to hold it for a long time, right? It leads to, even though let's say during the session is choppy, during the session takes time or whatnot, but as long as the stock does not break that key structure, your trade remains still valid, right? So for example, in this case, my trade or my thesis on the session was that we are going to trade lower on the day. So I am willing to hold for as long as it takes until we hit the target, and the target on the particular day was around 850. Why 850? 850 was very, very important level, critical level, June lows. And that's why a big order flow level, right? Criteria wanted to see strong volume in the direction of the move. That happened right at the open. We got a very, very strong exhaustion candle on the market. Limit our market order interaction, liquidity zones acting as support and resistance. Strong delta aligning with the direction of the move. In this particular scenario, I was looking for delta to be negative side and very, very strong and accelerating. POC keeps on moving higher. POC basically keeps on moving lower in this particular case. POC is basically your point of control. As in a downtrend, the POC keeps on moving lower, basically tells you that the prices above were considered as expensive and they were rejected. And certain other criteria, right? So overall, this trade on this particular day worked out very, very fine, right? Now, again, this is just an example of having a strategy or having a playbook, and that links us back to the topic of our session, that is building a playbook and having a strategy. If you take, let's say, again, 100 different trades, and you are tagging each and every trade with the specific metrics, with the specific strategy or option that you're taking, what's going to happen over time? Over time, you would be able to, every single time, let's say that you see that setup, you would be able to take that setup without any hesitation and without any hesitation, right? So once again, to sum up, building a playbook, building a strategy is extremely, extremely important, guys. Do not underestimate it. Do not take a trade if you do not have a setup. You do not take a trade if you don't have a playbook. Don't take a trade if you don't have a strategy. You might get lucky for 1 time or 2 times or whatnot, but in a long run, you're not going to do well, right? So that's why having a structure, having an important is extremely, extremely important. So talking about the structure, today's session, I think, is a very, very good example of why having a playbook is important. So today's session is going to be very, very important because we have the jobs report. The jobs number are coming today. I think they already are out, been 7 minutes, because they were supposed to come at 4:30. I'm not 100% sure what the numbers came. I can't see right now, but today's session is going to bring the market is acting positively to the numbers. Again, I don't have the data right now, but looks like markets are acting positive to the numbers. So let's say if you have a playbook that is specifically designed for such key events like CPI data, right? Because those are the events when the market actually moves very, very strong, or NPF numbers. Those are the days when the market moves very, very strong. If you go through the price action for the last, 30 or 50 sessions, and every single time you look at, okay, how the market actually behaved or how the market actually traded whenever we had the jobs report. Did we have 10 a.m. reversal setups? Or did we have 10 a.m. continuation setups? Or did we have opening drive setups, right? That's going to give you a lot of edge in terms of every single time you trade NPF day or whatnot. So today, the session is going to be extremely, extremely important. As you guys can see, I mean, the market, insane rally just a session ago. Yesterday's session was a complete basically chop, a digestion session. That's very, very normal whenever we see such sort of diabolical moves. The market loves to take some time and digest the massive move before finally making a direction. So today, this entire zone is going to be extremely important going into 10 a.m. And the major question is going to be if we are able to take a bid, for example, above 7,800 for a continuation move higher, or if we actually go ahead and let's say reverse at 7,800 and we are not able to take a bid above 7,800 going into 10 a.m. or when establishing the initial balance, right? So if you have a structure, if you have a playbook that actually defines those criteria, that is extremely important. In terms of stock side, talking about the playbook, SNDK, for example, a very, very good name that actually I'm paying attention to today on the session, which I think could be a very, very interesting watch on the session if you're trading today. Reason, SNDK yesterday reporting earnings, and the initial reaction on the earnings was negative. However, if you look at the numbers were very, very strong. It's very, very typical for the stocks to sell off, especially after such an insane rally. We are in the big retracement phase, and we are just trying to look at that. We're just trying to sort of build a base in this entire 1,200, 1,300 area. We have put a very, very strong low at around 1,000, right? So this this setup, this stock is going to be big on watch for me. And for me, the playbook I'm using on this one with is called a second day play. What is a second day play? Is that after the earnings day, the next day you usually get the directional move and the stock trades with a lot of volume, right? So yesterday, despite the earnings, every single person was shorting, looking at this sort of price action in the pre-market. What happened? The stock reversed very, very strongly from around 1,180 all the way to 1,320. Very, very strong move on the upside, right? So today, being a second day play and going with the assumption that we will see a lot of volume on this one today as well, the basic hypothesis or basic trade thesis on this one today is if we are able to hold, let's say 1,290 to 1,300 area. This was a zone where SNDK yesterday had a lot of trouble accepting a bid above. So if you're able to hold above, we are potentially targeting around 1,350 area for a reversal move on this one, right? So why again, just look at this big consolidation area and big trend line that we are sitting in for quite some time, right? Similarly, SPCX, another very interesting stock yesterday, found a bottom at around 107, 108. A lot of consolidation, a lot of base building in this entire 105, 110 area, not able to accept a bid below this area. So today, sort of second day play, because the volume on this name yesterday was exploding. There was a massive tranche of shares which was released. So today, the big test on this one is going to be if we can finally break above, let's say 117, 118 area. That has been a big resistance wall. If that happens, we are potentially auctioning above 120 plus, right? So this is going to be another important move. So those are some important things that are going to be very interesting for the session. Those are some stocks that I am watching today, and let's see what the market gives. As said, today's session is going to be very important, and there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of activity, given that we have jobs number. Jobs number means there's going to be a lot of volume, there's going to be a lot of activity, there's going to be a lot of positioning today in the session. So keep an eye on ES and NQ. And in terms of the stocks, as said, these are the two major names that I'm watching today, and those two basically are in my second day plays that I am looking at to potentially trade today. So that is pretty much it from my side, guys. Quickly wanted to discuss, as said, sorry for that. Yeah, those are some important things that I'm watching today. Any questions? Let's have a deeper dive if there are any questions. Am I actually on the wrong? I'm actually on the wrong one. No, actually I'm the right one. Great. Any questions, guys, regarding the playbook? Or if you want, actually, yeah, let's once again, let's go back to the platform. Go to the, there are different functions, there are different things that you can actually do, and we are going to have a session on each and every aspect of it, such as, for example, what are the things that you should be looking at when you evaluate your trades? You know, what are the most important metrics that you should be paying attention to? How to build game plans, and what are the important things that you should be paying attention to when building a game plan. This is something that we discussed in the last session in detail. So that's where actually we also talked about this segment, which is basically building the setups, right? So am I taking the opening drive play today, right? Opening drive play on SNDK, or am I taking, let's say, and why, for example, I have this stock on watch today because of the second day play. Yesterday had great earnings plus strong reversal price action, right? Just sort of giving you guys an example, right? So this is a segment. I don't know if you guys were a part of this of our last session. This is what we sort of covered. This is what we covered in our last session in terms of the difference between good game plans and a bad game plans, and how exactly to sort of make a game plan, right? The second part today, what we quickly discussed, is building a playbook, and why building a playbook is extremely important. Today's game plan, as I've already sort of gave some insights, I still haven't made, but those are, let's say, some important things that for example, we at TradeZilla are paying attention to. By the way, for those who are not part of our Discord, we have a free Discord. Feel free to join. We go through our game plans, trading insights every single day before the market opens, with the pre-markets and whatnot. So feel free to be part of it. So that is pretty much all from my side, guys. I hope this session was helpful for you guys. If you guys have any questions, feel free to shoot us a text, and if not, I will see you guys in the next session. Goodbye.
What's up, team? Good morning. Welcome in. Thank you, Gord. Welcome in, Gord. What's up, everybody? Let me know in the chat how you guys are doing, where you're tuning in from. I am coming to you live from Disney World. Just kidding, Orlando, Florida. What's up, chat? Let me know who's here. Let me know where you guys are tuning in from. Get started here going through some analysis today. We'll go through some of the things that I'm watching, trade setups that I'm watching out for. We'll have giveaways as well. Let me just confirm that with the team. We'll run giveaways today. What's up? What's up? Lou, Tom's Cuban, welcome in. Mick Ellison, good morning. Welcome in. Ethiopia, awesome. I did become a dad again. Yes, sir. Thank you. That's why I was out last week. Number 3. So I got a 4, 2, and 0-year-old. Yeah, we got Apex, Ola Prime, TradeZella giveaways today. So make sure you stay in tuned for that. And by the way, speaking of, shout out to the sponsors of the channel here, bringing you guys all this valuable information on Chart Fanatics Live. So make sure you are ready for that giveaways today. We will do the giveaways on stream today. So get ready for that. We will have the giveaways on stream today. Let me let everybody know in Discord. All right. Thank you. Appreciate that, chat. Appreciate that. All right, so let's get into some analysis, what I'm watching out for, because it's coming close here already in the pre-market. I don't really trade the pre-market. I'm just kind of waiting. We had NFP this morning, by the way, so the markets had a little bit of choppiness, a lot of choppiness this week, especially yesterday. Let's move the screen over if we can. There we go. Thank you. All right, so let's see here. This is my book map. This is one of my favorite order flow tools, as well as my footprint charts, volume profiles, which I get from Deep Charts. Phenomenal tool as well. So let's take a look through to go through kind of the analysis that I'm watching out for. Let's actually just take a look at the daily charts first. I don't have too much here, but I want to take a look at the daily charts. So ES on the left-hand side daily chart, NQ on the right-hand side daily chart. Now ES is much relatively stronger. I'm looking at this old all-time high level up here around 77.39s. This is contract adjusted, by the way. Pushed into new all-time highs and then kind of whipped back, and now just kind of consolidating here in this range around prior all-time high that we had over here going back to the beginning of June. Was that beginning of June or end of May? Whatever it was over here. Now looking at NQ, right? We had this previous consolidation range here, okay? Auction lower. Now this is a key zone down here that you see marked in blue from the left side of my chart. We bounced off that really nicely. I wish I caught that with swings, because this was a zone that I was watching for swing trades long down here. I missed it. I normally like to swing trade options. Yeah, but I missed that. Didn't capitalize on it. It's all good. So we V-shape recovered kind of back into this consolidation range that we were previously in. That's bullish, and NQ has been bullish overall. More recently, obviously you can see we have this kind of straight shot up here, but in the near term, kind of sideways and choppy in this range, right? We were choppy leading up to NFP today, which just came out. We blasted back up towards the highs of this range, and now we're dropping back towards the middle of this range, right? There is a key area. I call this like kind of a news demand area, low volume node that we're like pulling back into as I speak. And this is a little unfortunate because this is a location that I wanted to watch for a trade setup, and I don't really like taking it in the pre-market. This was my top kind of game plan today, which I'll get into next. So I'll drop these screenshots in the chat on Chart Fanatics Discord. So if you want, head over to the Chart Fanatics Live Discord, or just Chart Fanatics Discord, that is. Head over to the Matt Owen channel on there. And if you want to see screenshots of my analysis and things that I talk about throughout the stream, head over there and check it out there. All right. Okay, so now let's take a look at one of my favorite tools here, Deep Charts. Looking at my volume profiles and Deep Trades indicator. Actually, hang on, let me change the time frame on this. Like to look at 30-minute charts starting out for the day. There we go. There we go. All right, one sec. Boom. All right, is that in screen there? Okay, cool. All right, so looking at this, you can see how the market sold off yesterday and then really consolidated a lot at the lows down here. Point of control shifted down here. Again, this is ES on the left-hand side, volume profile and Deep Trades indicator. NQ 30-minute chart, right-hand side, same thing, okay? So we came down to these lows, consolidated quite a lot yesterday on ES, and over here on NQ. NQ stayed relatively stronger. A lot of big buying came in overnight, broke us back out of this range, and then accelerated that even further on the news. So we kind of broke out of this range. We left a little low volume node there, pulled back into it right before the news, and then launched, right? That's one of my favorite setups right there. When we have a consolidation range, break out of it with a low volume node, and then pull back into it. And we kind of have, you know, my top game plan today was watching this. We had another little consolidation area here, broke out of it again aggressively on the news, and left this low volume node here. right? Similarly, we had this little area here, consolidated, broke out. So as long as this upside momentum stays in effect today, I'm looking at this kind of area here, kind of around 77.55 to 60-ish here on ES. Give it a little breathing room. It's just a general area of interest, right? And this area here, just under 29,700, where this low volume node is, right? So I'm watching to see if buyers defend this on a pullback this morning. That was my top game plan. And if we break back under that, that would be new information. If this volume fills in here and then we don't hold that, right, I might look to scalp shorts, targeting price to revisit this range here, which is the last place that value was found, right? And what does that mean? So I look at the market from a auction perspective, right? One of my favorite books is The Studies in Tape Reading by Wyckoff, right? So I like to, I look at the market from an auction perspective, right? And I view it from the phases of Wyckoff, auction market theory as well, kind of view it the same stuff to me, right? And so the market's always going through these phases of balance and imbalance, right? And so all of my trade setups are fundamentally around, what is the market auction doing? Is it balanced or imbalanced? And there are setups within that. There are setups that fit balance ranges. There are setups that fit trending directional moves, right? So when we have a balance area like this, and then the market prices in new information like NFP news right here, it leaves these areas of imbalance where there are low volume nodes, and there are oftentimes large aggressive participants driving that price move there. When they're retested, if that momentum is still strong, that's often holds and continues that trend. Not always, right? Because that would be new information. If the auction fails to hold that, those aggressive participants are no longer there holding price, then that's new information. So that's what I'm watching out for this morning, and that's the why I'm watching out for it here this morning. FX Flame said, can you do gold analysis? I don't trade gold. So the same concepts apply, right? You can use the exact same concepts, especially on gold futures, where trades fixed contracts and stuff, just like the indices. But, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I trade everything. I primarily just trade ES and NQ, and occasionally some of the market leading equities like the Mag 7 stocks. But that's mostly just for swing trades, as well as swing trades on ES and NASDAQ. All right, makes sense, folks? Let me drop this in the chat over here in case anybody wants to see that. Thanks, be busy, appreciate that. So we'll see what develops. We got about 8 minutes till the open here. Let me get rid of this. What is my opinion on ES-NQ divergence? Typically lack of continuation in trending moves. The best strong trending moves occur when both the major indices and the Dow, but really ES and NQ, when they're in agreement on a trend and you have broad sector agreements on a trend, you're going to have the best continuation plays. If not, if there's relative weakness and strength that's really predominant and they're moving opposed to each other, that means different sectors are kind of split, not in agreement, typically leads to more potentially choppy, balanced market, right? Less high quality to chase breakouts or trending moves, right? Very simple. A lot of my stuff is just very simple, guys. I have very simple technical analysis and view of the markets. And then I have a very clear view of just reading the order flow in real time around that. Like who's got size and controlling where the market is going, passive participants or aggressive participants. Okay, obviously aggressive participants are the ones that move price, but when passive participants are large enough, they act like guardrails to price movement. So using tools like my footprint charts and volume profiles on deep charts, as well as heat maps, whether you use whatever tool you use, right? It's all the same information, just visualized in different ways. And you learn to, essentially, what I do is I just identify like the phases of Wyckoff or the phases of the market auction, right? And where is their opportunity? That's all it is, guys. But I have very repeatable kind of signatures and things that I look for in the order flow around those trades, trade setups, things like that. You can use that on gold analysis. I don't trade gold, so I'm not going to really go through gold analysis. I can pull up a chart, but I don't trade it. So if you trade gold, your analysis is probably just as valuable or more valuable than mine. The same things that I teach and show you guys, you could use for gold. But market's getting ready to open here in a few minutes. So I'm going to focus on what I trade, which is ES and NQ. Flip my charts down to the 15-minute charts. I like to watch either 15 or 30-minute charts, kind of intraday volume profiles, especially with the deep trades indicator. That is sick. There's a lot of stuff on deep charts now that makes reading the order flow like almost mechanical. I spent a lot of years kind of developing the skill of reading the tape, but there's a lot of indicators and things like that on deep charts that can help you see things without necessarily needing to develop the discretion, right? Speed of tape, big trades indicator, deep trades indicator, things like that can be very helpful. So let's take a look over here. This is my main watch, especially on the NASDAQ here, looking at deep charts. This area just at and around 29,700. This general area where this low volume node is. A bit of news demand here where we kind of consolidated and then blasted out of. We'll see if those buyers are still thirsty. I kind of dislike when we pull back into a trade setup like this and it basically plays out right before the market open. I don't like to take trades in the pre-market and then hold into the open. It's just kind of a gamble because there's such a surge of different like orders and stuff that it can just be lower probability. You can see the current value area high is also here. So that's another confluence. And we did have a big order that came in here-ish. So big seller just hit right there. You saw right in that zone, got absorbed. I would like to see that. I would like to see aggressive sellers hit and get absorbed and fail to break down. Now, like I said, if we fill this area in, and by the way, you can see, I'll mark this area as well. This is kind of that area of interest in this low volume node here. So we'll see what happens here. Really got to kind of let it develop. If this kind of fills in and then breaks back under, then that's valuable information. So we're kind of filling in here. Market's about to open momentarily. see what happens. Getting a nice pump out of there. Pulling back into there. Watching this closely here. It's very volatile, but it's right at my area of interest here. Some nice aggressive buying here. I'd love to see one more quick pullback into this range really get supported. If we can get one more quick pullback here off the open. I usually like to let the first 5 minutes develop here. I don't love jumping into trades right off the open, but we're right at this key spot. If it holds and I see some big orders here, I would love to see one more quick little pullback here to take it. I don't know if we'll get it. It might just launch. There's a pullback into here. See what happens. Some aggressive buying coming in here. Tried it long here at 702. My stop's trailing break even. Just tagged me break even. If it sweeps back in here again, I'll look to re-enter. Crap. Might have just got me. That little sweep back there got me break even. I have OCO orders for these fast scalps like this. So as soon as the trade moves 10 points in my favor, which is super tight on NQ, my stop trails break even automatically. That was a little too tight for this volatility here off the open. Crap. That's so annoying. That got me almost to the tick. Look at this, guys. Grabbed that long there on that dip. It popped, trailed my stop break even. It got me almost to the tick there. Oh, that is so annoying. That was such a good entry, and I was just a little too tight on it. We'll see if we get another pullback. I'm still interested, as I think this could be a much bigger move off of here now. Gosh. I was looking for that one more pullback into there to take it, and it came back on me, literally just break even to the tick. We'll see what happens here. I'm still waiting for another good pullback. I like this range just above here now where we kind of consolidated here. Just want to see a little bit of a pullback into here. Man, that was such a good snag. Wow. 100 points up from that entry now. Oh, man. Oh, my heart. Oh, man, guys. I messed that one up. I had it so good. Oh. Dang, Daniel. Anybody else in the chat catch it? What a wicked catch off this zone here. Oh. CB is in it long. Somebody tell me they're in it. Somebody tell me they caught it at least off that zone to make me feel better. And Neil got it. Drop a W in the chat if you got it. Dang. Look at this, guys. Freaking A, man. I messed that up so bad. Look at that zone I just drew with you guys right there in the pre-market. Right there. Dang. Oh, what a catch. Oh, man. Yeah, that so when I'm catching those quick entries like that, I use my OCO orders, and I would have liked to just hold my risk a little bit longer there and not get stopped out so easy. But my bracket orders are set to where as soon as the trade moves 10 points in my favor, which is like almost immediately, it trails break even. And that OCO bracket order caught me break even there before I could even like move the order. Dang. Brutal. Look at this, guys. Oh my gosh. Pain. Absolute pain, right? There was the entry. My stop was only here under this bar originally. And then that pop was just enough that it triggered that OCO order to go break even, got me like to the tick, and then instantly up like 100+ points from there. That would have been a 10+ R trade. Oh. It happens. Now, if we come all the way back into this zone here, I don't love it as much, right? I don't love it as much. I would like to see price hold above here now, especially kind of like above here. So I will kind of watch this if we hold a higher low from here now, especially kind of around there. We're pulling back into VWAP and the 20 EMA now. So see what happens. But I would like to see a higher low hold at this point. Wouldn't really prefer to see it go all the way back to that low volume node. So there's that spot in those prior highs there. Watching this here. Getting some nice buying off there. It's a little dangerous here for me, to be honest with you. It's kind of a little slow, but we'll see. Getting a little pullback here. I don't really love how we pulled back here so much. We'll see what happens in this zone, but it's not as A+ as it was off the open. Prefer to see us hold up here above this. All right, some aggressive buying's coming in now. See if we get a little pullback here. Can't really pull back much here. Let's see if we can get a little pullback. That holds. There we go, a little pullback. All right, I like that aggressive buying coming in there. Took it long here at 54. I have a stop just down under 45, which is trailing break even now. It's not really got a lot of gas. break even hit here. Didn't really have a lot of gas from these aggressive buyers here. So I'll watch it if it sweeps back a little more deeply here. Kind of got slow and choppy there. Didn't love that. All right, well, 2 break evens here. Not ideal. Another pullback here. Can this one hold? We're right around that key spot. Some more buying coming in, but it just got smashed. Just a lot of aggressive selling. All right, there we go. Back up here now. I want to see kind of this aggressive buying come in like this, and then I want to see a really weak pullback where sellers are really weak. Got a little weaker right there. Some more aggressive buying coming in right here. See that delta pop right there? All right, some more aggressive buying here. See if these guys can follow through. Kind of choppy, kind of lacking immediate continuation. You can see these bigger bubbles where they had some positive delta spike, but it just kind of lacked any kind of continuation. I want to see it like really get some price movement and then pull back weekly, but it's kind of choppy here. All right, there. Now can we pull back weekly? Get a weak pullback that fails to move. Kind of a little bit of a weaker pullback right here. No, just sweeping right back down. So I don't really like this range here. I'm gonna just stay out of this. It's just not getting any kind of good kind of continuation move. What I want to see is a nice surge of positive delta and then a weak pullback. But every time we pop, it kind of sweeps back down just equally as hard. So it's not, it looks like it's potentially building for a good move. Still watch this, it just doesn't look as nice of quality as it did off the open. I would have rather seen this hold a higher low and really keep moving towards these highs again. The fact that we made a lower high and then just dropped right back down here. There's a good amount of volume here. Look at the size of that bubble, right? But it's still kind of choppy and building. Need to see it get some good kind of momentum. At least for me, because I'm taking, very quick short-term trades. I'm not trying to sit here. You could just buy down here and just have a wider stop and be kind of positioned for it, but that's not how I'm really trying to trade this, especially on a Friday. All right, so now we're getting a little bit better upside move here. Now let's see if that momentum kind of holds now. We still held above this zone, so there is that. What I'm looking for is if we kind of pull back and hold kind of around where that came in there. We had this little consolidation here that built, kind of accumulated, and then aggressive move out of here. So let's see if we hold a pullback kind of around these guys. It's just gonna go now that it's gone. No pullbacks allowed, huh? Dang. It's tough. Some bids stepping in here along the way. Coming close to these guys now. There's VWAP. Dropping into here and see if we get some nice buyers stepping in again. Just kind of blasted through here. Didn't really see any big like buy orders step in. Quick little pop there, not very sizable. We're still holding relentlessly above this zone. It's just kind of sloppy and choppy, but we're still holding above this zone. But definitely kind of sloppy and poppy. I don't like how we popped over this high over here and then dropped all the way back down too. Pretty choppy. Got a nice rejection off the short, off the top trench. Nice. Yeah, this is just, it's not really holding any kind of momentum cleanly here. It's just kind of choppy up and down now. Like buyers are definitely supporting when we come down to the lows, but it's just not, there's kind of a lack of follow through, and sellers are smacking them back down each time. I do think like it's in the buyer's favor still overall here. It's just a little tough when we keep just kind of whipping back so much. Well, there's some nice aggressive buying. But again, each time we kind of pop like this, it gets whipped right back. Yeah, kind of just got whipped right back again. Yeah, T-Trader, it looks like we're just chopping, bro. I was hoping to see a little bit nicer upside momentum here this morning, but just lack of follow through each time so far, which is very tough to capture here. Just kind of chopping around here. Every time we get a nice little bit of kind of momentum come in, it just kind of whips right back. Just kind of the middle of this intraday range here. I mean, I still think it's overall bullish. It's just choppy. So it's hard to capitalize on something here short term. Some more aggressive buying effort here. ES is still trying to hold above the point of control here, above where that high volume is. NQ overall still trying to hold above the value area high. The biggest problem here is just kind of lack of follow through and just kind of choppy. Like if you look at the last, like since that first 5 minutes, we've just kind of been grinding up and down in this range. So literally since the first 5 minutes, we've just been grinding up and down in this range. I do like how we're now supporting this and more aggressive buying is coming in here. Especially like this is what I'm looking at, how this is supporting here above this high volume area on ES. You can see how we're just kind of grinding our way up in a channel here on NQ. So did a quick little wick out under there. If this little fake out kind of fails under this channel and then recaptures above, that could be more interesting for some more upside momentum. If this little pullback under this channel holds. But overall, it's quite choppy. like zooming out, it's basically a barcode here. Basically just the middle of a barcode here. Yeah, slow, choppy. Positive, Tento Stick said positive gamma market, yeah. I liked the potential for the momentum. You know, we came into that like news demand area, had a nice aggressive move off of it, off the open. That was kind of like my A+ trade scenario for the day. But what's developed since then is just completely sideways chop. So I don't really want to touch anything in here. Unfortunately, that would have been a really nice, you know, 70, 80, 100-point trade off the open there. But I missed it, got stopped break even, got stopped breaking even again on another trade. And so now it's turned into total lack of direction, sideways chop here. And if we look overall, you can see these big orders that came in near the highs. Aggressive buyers obviously got absorbed by passive sellers. So passive sellers at the highs, aggressive buyers down here defending this low volume node, but inside here, just a super choppy balance range here, just around the value area high here. So you could look to fade the extremes down here at the lows if we fail to break down this low volume node again and just target a quick pop back into the middle, basically near this value area high. That's an idea there, basically, especially if we see some absorption down there. We just saw another aggressive seller come into the lows. We'll see if that drives continuation or if it just fails and recaptures. What I would like, you know, just kind of an intraday balance range setup here is if we get something like this, where we have this balance range overall here, fail and then recapture it, then we could catch a nice piece back into a mean reversion there. But if this breaks down from here with a lot of aggressive selling and doesn't recapture, I wouldn't try to catch the low here. So we just broke that key zone that I was looking for earlier. So I wouldn't really try to catch the low here unless that recaptures back above and then holds a pullback into it. That would then become interesting again to me. But until then, I don't really see much here. I don't really want to chase, like overall, like the structure is pretty solidly up. So I'm not really trying to chase downside here. Personally, we could think about a potential break and retest under this zone. I don't love it. Just looking at the daily chart overall, right? It's been on a nice strong trend. So I personally like looking at the daily here. I don't really like chasing shorts here overall. Like the recent trend is pretty strongly up. Caught a nice short on ES. Nice. Well played, sir. Yeah, I mean, it might get it now that we've kind of failed to hold this. It might get a nice break and retest under here. That could be a nice short-term trade. Maybe target the overnight lows. There was just a lot of consolidation and aggressive buying down there too. So like looking at the near term, I just feel like look at this. I don't feel good about chasing shorts here personally, because I feel like I'd be going short right into potential demand, like where we just had this consolidation area, a lot of aggressive buying. So I'm like chasing shorts right into, you know, potential strong buyers. If I was, I don't know. Yeah, that's just my current perspective, and that might fail, right? These buyers might give up and be dead, and then, right, we might break under here and then crush them. That's a possibility, but that's just not my favorite kind of setup here. But if this zone recaptures and then holds, that could become more interesting. So far, still just downside here. Well, pop failed into there. Hasn't really recaptured meaningfully to me. Billy Stylist asked Matt, what is your chart on? Which chart? My candle charts are on deep charts. If you're talking about these charts, this is deep charts with the volume profiles and deep trades. Yeah, I mean, I liked the support above this. For upside continuation, I would have wanted to see higher loads hold. Don't really love how we filled this in, right? If it turns into a continuous balance range here, I would like to see this kind of recapture. I wouldn't really want to try to hit the low here, but if we kind of recapture and then hold, it might become interesting. If we break down further from here, like I said, I have a little bit of a tough time chasing the breakdown here now, just kind of right into prior demand. Yes. Mean reversion short? No. If this zone recaptures here and then holds a pullback, I'd be potentially interested in scalping along, just back up into the middle of this range. Like if we hypothetically kind of consolidate here a bit and then hold back in this range, I'd be possibly interested in that move. But if we keep holding under this, like it could break down further towards overnight lows. The context here for me just is difficult to take that personally. But we failed to rally off. We failed to sustain the rally off the news. Then we held lower highs, right? So it is kind of weak in the near term now. Coming in towards these lows from before the news over here. So I wouldn't try to catch the low here, that's for sure. I also am kind of hesitant personally for trying to catch it short, although there is definitely downside momentum in play, right? Especially now that we kind of broke under this low volume node. So if pops fail into there, it could be a short opportunity. I don't like the overall location for it, right? But it could sell off from here. It could crush through the overnight lows now. We'll see. I think if we pop back up here, I have to see the order flow, see the orders that come in, and if there's something that really stands out to me, maybe. If not, if we recapture this, then that would be different. But sellers have been kind of continuously whacking buyers every time. And here's the other thing, like ES is also just coming into the value area low here, kind of balanced in this range. It could easily just shoot back up here. So I don't love chasing this short here personally. In fact, I almost prefer, if this recaptures and then holds, to go long still. Right, and this is the other thing. All these aggressive buyers that came in here and this low volume node here are areas where buyers could really step back in again. So I just have a hard time chasing this short down into here where it could get aggressively bought. So that was that kind of overnight low trend line there. Just recaptured back above, coming back towards this previous low volume node that we were watching here. Look at all that aggressive selling right into there. That's why I don't love chasing shorts down into there, into that. Just easily just shoots right back up. Imagine chasing it short down here. Not ideal. Now, if it fails up here now at this zone, that's one thing, right? If we fail off this zone now, we could break down further. Buyers still coming in, but looking at the delta down here, I don't see anything super standoutish. Little bit here on the recapture of that. Just looking at these delta bars down here, I don't see anything super standoutish. But we'll watch it. Volume is kind of thin. Just doesn't look super convincing. Take a look at ES over here. Pretty choppy, flat range overall here. Like if we look at the range from the news, we're just chopping around inside that. coming towards the lows of it now here. And a lot of aggressive selling down here at these lows so far has not driven a breakdown. We'll see. We didn't really recapture the zone. We kind of rejected off of it and coming back down here to the lows. Buying, look how, so on this rally, see how the buying got smaller? See how the volume got smaller? That's not what I'd love to see for like a recapture. I'd want to see like increasing volume and aggressive buying, recapture that. I don't like how these pops like failed up here with smaller and smaller volume. Sellers are a lot more aggressive driving into the lows than buyers are at the highs. So we came into those lows again, bouncing off it again. Did see an aggressive buy order come in down there at the lows, which I have not seen that occur yet. Show you what I mean here on deep charts. At this point, I'd almost rather see what happens if we drop down into the zone where all these aggressive buyers came in. I'd almost rather just wait and see what happens down here. See all these aggressive buyers that came in down here. Kind of consolidation area up here, that previous low volume node that we were watching. We did break under it, failed to recapture, and now breaking down further. But look at all the aggressive buying that came in here. So I'd almost just wait to see what happens when we take out these lows right into where these aggressive buyers are. Right, it's tough for me to chase shorts down here. If I was going to, I do like this idea more, like we talked about, like a potential retest of that. To short on that pop. So we'll see what happens down here. Some more buying stepping in. Look at that selling kind of hit a wall here a little bit. Yeah, selling's kind of dwindling off there a little bit. I tried that long at 84. Trying to move my target out. I liked that little dip there. Buying got pretty weak. Let's see if this can go. I'm in it long from 29,584. My stops break even here. I'd love to see if we can retest back up into that range into like 630, 640 area. Oh no, is this gonna come stop me break even here? Buyers ran out of gas again. Still in, but my stops break even at 84. Yeah, I'm out, break even hit. We'll watch if this pull back into this range, if I see something. I liked the surge of Delta there. See if it recaptures again and holds a little pullback again. It's just so sloppy, man. I keep getting really great entries. Like, look at this, and then comes all the way back, hits my break even. You know, I was up like 40 points there. Look at this. Really nice. Held that pullback, caught it there when I started to see the aggressive buying come in, all the way up, all the way back to break even. I will watch this if we hold a pullback there again, but just buyers keep running out of gas, right? I liked how that zone got defended there. That really big sell order got kind of absorbed there. I still like it if we kind of can hold a pullback, but it didn't get as aggressive of a move out of there as I wanted. Stop trailed break even. Came back, hit me break even. Now it's rallying further again. And now it's going to my target into 630, 640 area. Man, some sloppy action here today, guys. Sloppy. All I was looking for was a pop into these 630s to 640s. So that's hit now. So there's my target. Just very sloppy. That was looking for this dip right into these aggressive buyers in this zone here. Man, oh my gosh, dude. Look at that. I missed another great scalp off that. Another break even. It's just sloppy action. Gotta be kidding me. It's just one of those days, man. Just one of those days. Just gotta smile and cry in the shower. Oh man, we'll see if it pulls back and holds a higher low. I like this little spot here where these aggressive buyers came in. So we'll see if it pulls back in there and I see some aggression again. Oh my gosh, it's just gonna. It came back, stopped my break even, and then it's just gonna rip straight to the moon from there, all the way back up. Should have looked to re-enter it a little more quickly, but I didn't. I do like how the volume has, like, see these pops over here, how they were very small and weak. I do like how the volume has now increased to the upside here. That line is those overnight lows there. So we'll see if that rejects or holds. Pretty aggressive buying coming back in here. I like the aggressive buying coming back in here. What's up, Trader D Lamb? So this is exactly what I was warning you guys about, is chasing those shorts down into where these aggressive buyers were. I mean, look at that. Look at that 180 rip off there. Right? That's exactly what I was saying. Like, yes, there's some weakness in the short term, but you don't want to chase shorts. Like, look at right here where we had this prior consolidation, all this aggressive buying. Look at that. Holy cow. You don't want to go chasing shorts right into a zone like that. What's up, Dylan? So hopefully, hopefully you guys capitalized on those longs there, but also hopefully that showed you a key information that you wouldn't see from a chart, which is look at this on deep charts where we saw all these aggressive buyers in that zone, right? Not to chase shorts to the downside right into that, because there's a good chance on this retest the big boys that were buying in here are coming back in if they still have positions to fill, right? And apparently they did, or at least other people that thought they would did. Another sick zone catch there. And we recaptured this low volume node from earlier, right there. It's still kind of there. Hasn't really totally filled in. We recaptured that. I kind of like that if that holds a pullback for continuation. Kind of like that recapture there if that holds a pullback right here. Around 29.7 to 675 area. That holds a pullback there. That could be interesting for another continuation long. Clean up some of this stuff. You can see how we had this zone act like a pivotal point. We got below it, rejected. Now we recaptured above it. What happens if we pull back into here? VWAP also looks like it's right in there too. See if we sweep under some of these lows right into a spot like this. Right in that low volume area that was a low volume node. It still kind of is, but it's kind of just a pivotal point now, also kind of around VWAP. Some more aggressive buying coming in here. You can see the positive delta increase right here. Nice increase of positive delta there. We'll see if that starts driving another move up here. Took that long there on the recapture of 700. I'm in at 706. Trailing my stop break even again. Would like to see this break out back into 740s, 750s. I'm holding. Oh, let me move my target. All right, I'm going to start trailing my stop up to 735. Oh, it hit. Fuck. My first trailed stop hit. Oh, well. I'll watch it if it dips back into the zone again here. So I like the recapture of the 20 EMA here, and you see the surge of positive delta here, right? We bounced right off VWAP too. So I took it long there with a stop right under that bar because that's where this positive delta surge occurred. I was looking for it to break out over those highs and continue, right? As soon as it broke out over those highs, I started trailing my stop. I trailed my stop right there, it hit. But nonetheless, you know, that was a 706 to 33s. Not a huge trade, but, you know, 28 points there. I was only risking about 5 points, about half this bar. These are 10-point bars. If it pulls back into the zone, it just pulled back into the zone again. I didn't catch it yet because I was talking to you guys. But if it pulls back into the zone and holds again, I'll look to take it long again. But I might have just missed it while I was sitting there talking to you guys. Hey, by the way, guys, Chandler, I probably should widen my stops a little bit more. I like to scalp the volatility with very, very tight, precise risk, right? So I keep my risk very consistent. I'm on a personal account today. I have been trading Apex accounts as well. On a personal account, just made $1,600 on that trade. But I like to trade with very, very tight, precise risk. And I'd rather just eat the small loss. Like you guys saw me take multiple break evens before I caught that nice win. And actually all of my break evens were up like 20, 30 points. It was just a scalp, right? And I would have loved to catch this retest because to me, it was still valid as long as we hold pullbacks in this zone. Would have liked to catch that again, but I missed it. We pulled right back into 700, almost to the tick, and launched again. I would have loved to buy that again, but I was sitting there blabbing. By the way, guys, giveaways, I almost forgot, are up in the Discord. So if you want to be in for the giveaways, we got Apex account, Ola Prime account, and TradeZella account. So head over to the giveaways channel. Yeah, I did call it. I told you guys about this zone before. I told you I was looking along the dip into it, and I told you when I took it. So no surprise there. The giveaways are up in the Chart Fanatics Discord, so make sure you head over there and check that out if you're interested. We've got Apex, Ola Prime, and TradeZella. So head over there to the giveaways tab and smash the button if you want to be entered for the giveaways today. Man, I would have loved. It seems like all of my trades today got this nice initial move off my entry, and then every time it sweeps back one more time. So I'm identifying really good for my entries where the aggressive buyers are coming in. It just lacks follow through, sweeps back one more time. That would have stopped me break even. Again, I took profit up here that time. I would have liked to re-enter because it potentially an even stronger move now into the highs. And holy goodness, ES ripped. ES absolutely ripped, right? And so what that was one, I was speculating we would hold a bottom off this zone here where these aggressive buyers were. We did. Unfortunately, I missed that trade. What a trade that would have been. Now we recaptured this key zone, so I took it for continuation when we held the pullback in this key zone here, which we've been talking about all freaking day. Talking about how important that zone is. So did I have a massive home run? No, but I was risking 5 points and I made like 28 something points. So really good spot there. Remember, I told you guys earlier, I was not interested in this here because look at how the buying pops were weaker. See how the volume really dried up? Now we recaptured that, and look at the volume increase as we recaptured that. Now I'm like, okay, now we recaptured this zone with some really good volume. Now I'm interested in pullbacks. That's why I caught that long. I selected that zone because it was a low volume node. which is still intact here. You can still see the low volume dip where the really aggressive buying came in on the news. I had that marked out before the open even. And I went over it in the pre-market analysis. Together, we marked this spot. It initially held, nice move. It broke down under and then held this key zone below down here that we marked out live together. Then once it recaptured, it was key again. All right, guys, head over to the Discord if you want to be entered for the giveaway. It ends, what is it? Close at 10:40. Is that right? Is that how this works? Closes at 10:40. So make sure you head over there and smash the button. So now we'll see what happens if we continue to have just kind of a balanced, choppy day, or if we hold a pullback at this key zone, and then that kind of builds energy for a breakout of the highs. I'm kind of curious either way. If we hold this now, if we hold above this, and then that kind of drives momentum for a breakout of the highs, or if we just continue to hold these lower highs and just chop around inside this range. ES is looking a lot more energetic to the upside now. I like how we just kind of broke those highs here, and we have this little spot here around the value area high. I'm very curious to see if this holds here. Might actually be more interested on this on ES. Let me flip over to ES if I can get it fast enough. There's a lot on the heat map over here as well. Some older drawings. This was that range. We marked that box around from the news, but you can see a lot on the heat map down here. Underpriced around these 77.70s. So we'll see what happens down here if we kind of hold this pullback in here. If that holds and keeps driving new highs, that could help NQ breakout too. Especially if NQ holds above the zone that we talked about here. Yeah, this is typical bouncy type conditions, Gord. But I am still in favor of longs just based on the overall everything. Yeah, I've been trading since 2016, and I've been trading like this with order flow and stuff since like around 2020. So you get a feel for these different market conditions, man, and it's just, I've been saying this all week. Sometimes it's not the greatest conditions, but it just is what it is. I just call it making lemonade out of lemons, right? You just have, I wish I could just have the market in super easy mode, trend, easy pullback longs all the time, but that's just not reality, right? When those conditions are around, great. You know, we're pumping on the gas, you know, squeezing everything we can out of it. But, you know, in other conditions like this, that the market does this kind of stuff often, right? Choppy conditions, especially like this is very typical. NFP week and FOMC weeks are very typical like this, right? So NQ has more opportunities because the volatility is just higher. So as far as just kind of quicker scalps intraday, like you've seen me trade today, you know, there's some more opportunities to capture good risk versus reward trades, even kind of on intraday moves like this. ES can be a little bit trickier just because smaller ranges, slower grind, need to be more patient for extremes. Sellers are trying to drive back in here, but kind of failing here a little bit. We'll see what happens. I like how this aggression is coming in from buyers. Do like how this aggression is coming in from these buyers. See if we get a dip back into here. ES is pulling back into that zone that we talked about around 77.70. All these orders here on the heat map. I think this is really, if ES doesn't hold, then NQ definitely is probably not going to hold. So I think it's kind of eyes on ES right now because ES is the upside leader here. Some nice selling coming in here. Whoa, that was a big order. Big aggressive buyer took that on ES here. Kind of curious to see what happens here because there's kind of crickets after. Not much has occurred yet. Pretty small orders here. If we get back above that and start seeing some aggressive buying coming in, that could become interesting. Yeah, starting to see some nice buying coming in here. Kind of small, but kind of steady. Kind of held that dip there, right at that low volume spot. That big order came in. ES just so dang slow. I've been trading NQ a lot lately. So dang slow. All right, we'll see what happens here. I like how the buying is coming in here. Took it long here on ES. Just gonna have a couple point stop down under 68. Nothing crazy, very tight. We'll see if it keeps grinding up here. It's worth a couple points here. I'm looking for it to continue into the highs. I'm in at 71.50, just have a stop there at 68.50. If we don't get some aggression here, I might just cut this. I don't really like how slow and lackluster that is. Yeah, I got stopped there. All right, I don't really love that. Didn't really hold. I wanted to see it kind of hold with that aggressive buying above this zone, but it did initially. but then just nothing kind of held. No aggressive orders kind of continued coming in. NQ kind of breaking back under that zone there. So pretty lackluster. It might just be a choppy balanced day now. I don't like that we didn't really, if we hold this zone here, it's kind of running out of time to me. We'll see what happens here. Overall, I don't love how this is kind of the middle of the range here though. I do want to see it get supported, and I do want to see these aggressive buyers support that. If they do, I think we could drive into these highs. It's just a little questionable overall, especially getting later in the morning. All right, guys, congratulations to Deuce Knight, FX Trader, and Chandler Candle Hunter for the giveaways. Congratulations on those. Make sure you head over to the Chart Fanatics Discord to claim that if you're interested. Honestly, guys, I think I'm just gonna call it there. A few break evens, a really nice win, a small loss. Only took that with one contract, lost a couple points there on ES. Overall, kind of just making lemonade out of a lemon day here for me. It's looking pretty balanced. I would like to see this zone hold. If it does, I do think we could target the highs here still. Is it the most quality trade? No, we're kind of in the middle of the range, especially kind of getting later on the Friday. So do I want to see that happen? Kind of, yeah. But at the same time, I'm already up today. I'm not going to continue to push my luck kind of in the middle of the range on a Friday, on an NFP Friday. I think I'd rather just preserve capital and see you guys back next week. Thanks, T-Trader. Thanks, everybody, for joining in today. Appreciate you guys. I will see you guys back here next week, as always. Hope you learned something, and protect capital. Don't get chopped up in the middle of the range on a Friday. All right? Peace.